All right, welcome to another episode of Closers or Losers. Jeremy Miner, chairman of 7-Level, here with our CEO, Matt Ryder, over in the Sydney, Australia. You're working from home today, I see over there.
Yeah, again.
Never going
probably,
to the
on Thursdays, I always work from home. So you'll basically
Thursdays is work from home for the CEO. How nice, how nice. Okay,
yeah.
So today, you wanted to talk about something. What did you want to go over with everybody today?
Well, we see a lot of people, and we did a big masterclass recently, and people are like, what industry should I sell in, or what should I be selling? And I think it's not the industry, it's like the characteristics of the offer and the business that I think are, things. And having you sold a lot of things, I've sold a lot of things. So I thought it'd be helpful for the people today to sort of figure out what is a good offer, what is something that you can sink your teeth into and find a home for a while. Because I think a lot of salespeople are bouncing from one thing.
Okay, so what industries? What do they need to? Not necessarily in industries, but what do they need to look from the business, the owners, to make sure they're selling something that's long term? Is that
if you're a good sales rep? Let's be very clear. You're not auditioning for them; they're auditioning for you.
Why do you say that? I like that. Why do you say that?
Because there are not that many top tier salespeople in the world. There are many businesses.
True.
So if you're really good at what you do and you can generate massive amounts of revenue for a business, they need you far more than you need them.
That is a valid point. And here's what I want to say to that, because when the whole 2008, 2009 thing happened, I don't know how it was in Australia, but here in the US, obviously, like in the company I was with, I was selling debt consolidation type of sales. And that company, you're talking, they had 500-600 salespeople, and within 60 days, half of them are gone. Quite literally, half the company gone. You walk in the office, whoa, where's George? Oh, he got fired. Oh, Lisa got fired. Everybody was gone, right? Now, I never had to worry about that, because when you're generating the company you're selling for millions of dollars or multi-millions of dollars or whatever it is, and you're the top person, okay, or even in the top 5-10%, whatever you are, you're never going to have to worry, because you're going to be the last to go. And even if you're the last to go, you're going to have all these other companies out there. It all takes the right skill level. You have the right skill level and you perform, you never have to worry about anything, because even if that company goes bankrupt and you're the last one out the door, you'd have 50 other companies trying to bring you in, because like you said, they need you more than you need them. And that's a powerful position to be in negotiating.
Exactly. So what are the things that you looked for? Obviously with your first job, you didn't, because you didn't know. But when you were looking to transition out of, door-to-door alarms, and, they said, hey, Jeremy, you'll never make the money you're making here, and all that kind of stuff. They did.
I remember the owners actually told me that.
Yeah. What did you look for as a characteristic of the next company that would, in terms of lead generation or package offer or consistency or size of company? What are the things you were looking for? I'm assuming it wasn't the actual offer specifically. It was more everything around it.
Yeah, to me, so my first job was, if you don't know, was everybody listening, home security, selling, door to door. I was in that industry for about 5 years, somewhere like 5.5 years. And I remember on the way out, I'm like, hey, I didn't even know what I was going to do. Quite literally, I didn't have another job, but I told them, I'm like, you know what? I'm just, this is kind of getting old. This is awesome. I love it. It's been a great run, but, I'm going to move back to Missouri. I was in Utah at the time. I'm going to move back to Missouri. I want to be closer to family. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I love you guys. I'm out. And they're like, what are you doing? You're crazy. You're going to be back here in 3 months, because you can't find anything to do. There's no way you're going to be able to make that amount of money anywhere else. And I was probably at that point making $350,000 a year or something like that. It was 25, 26, somewhere in that range.
A hobby.
There you go. It's a hobby. But I'd saved my money, invested my money. So I just took some time off, and for the next 6, 7, 8 months, I kind of looked around, and then I discovered the B2B world. You can sell these high price solutions and you can get more commissions. And I was getting recruited by different companies from different industries. And so I just picked a company. I got recruited by some really, really big companies, and then some startups. And some startups as well. And so what I kind of did is I found a company that was kind of in the middle of that. They weren't a startup. They'd been around probably about 6 years. So they were established, but they weren't Fortune 500, right? Where I was just
why is that? Why did you stay away from?
I think in my mind at that point, at my mind at that point is I could negotiate the best deal. Now I could probably negotiate a better deal with a startup, but I was more risk there because of lead generation. I didn't know that, if they really knew what they're doing. It wasn't as stable. Now, can you negotiate that with like coming out of door to now? Had I gone through the second industry and then went into Fortune 500 companies, I could have negotiated a huge deal, right? But coming from door to door into B2B, just because I was like the number one dude in the US in door to door, doesn't mean that's necessarily in their mind going to translate into there, right? So Fortune 500 company is not going to negotiate and just pay me whatever I want compared to a company that's like mid-range. So I kind of found that sweet spot. They were already established well. They had processes and systems and down, but they weren't massive yet, if that makes sense. That's why I chose that company. That's what I did.
That makes total sense. So you were looking for something where you could get bang for buck, but also have security and consistency.
Yeah, somebody that like wasn't going to be gone a year later. They'd already been around, I think around 6-7 years, somewhere in that range. Yeah. They were established, but they weren't huge, but they needed somebody like me more than I needed them. Let's just put it
there. I think like, you touched on a really good point there when you said you could have negotiated a much better deal with a startup.
Yeah.
But one of the down, like sometimes deals are too good to be true. Like I remember I had one guy who was offering us like offering me like 35% commission.
Right. What were you selling then? What industry you're in?
That was high ticket coaching.
Okay, that's too high for that. There's no profit.
Too high for almost anything.
Yeah.
Right. And I just sort of said like, oh, okay. And I did the deal, and it was going to be like, it's going to be like $5,000 a sale.
Yeah.
Commission. And I was like, man, I could bang out 4 of these a day, make 20 grand a day. But I was like, I know a little bit about business. Yeah. I was like, hey man, just wondering, like, if you're willing to spend 35%, so if it's like, let's say it's 10,000, just for ease of math, 3,500 goes on the sales guy. 2,000 of that has to go on ads as well.
Yeah.
Or at least 1,000. So then you're at 4,500. So you're looking at a 45% gross profit.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like? How are you maintaining a net? And he's like, oh no, our nets are really healthy. I was like, what are you not doing?
Yeah.
So, and turns out they were kind of a Ponzi scheme. So I'm glad that I didn't end up selling it.
So there's no fulfillment or something.
There's no fulfillment. There's no back end. There's no nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like some of the industries, now some industries have phenomenal commission rates, like insurance have like fantastic commission rates, but you buy your own leads.
Yeah. Solar. Right?
Yeah, solar again. You buy your own leads a lot of the time. You know what I mean? So, like, there are kind of pros and cons to like lots of different offers, but I think it's about them finding what's right for them at the time.
Yeah,
100%.
And after I'd been in that organization for even a year, I really, I did well. I made that was the first year I made over $1 million in 1 year in commission. So then I had everybody recruiting, right? Like even Fortune 1000, Fortune 500 companies offering me deals.
How did they find out about that? How did
people find out? They just do, right? Just like you, like when you were in the top in your industry, people just hear. Right. Massive legend, and then this guy tells this guy and it goes up to this owner. And then maybe you're at an event and they talk to you or they see you talk and train. Word gets around, right? Recruiting agencies would call me all the time. I'd probably get like 3 or 4 calls from recruiters every single day from every industry you can think of. And that's a good thing because, like I said, when that whole thing happened in 2008, 2009, I didn't really have any worries because I'm like, well, half the company's gone. And then all these other guys, like their incomes got cut in half. The next year I made almost double. I went from like 780,000 the year before. 2008, really the whole crash happened the very end of 2008. But 2008, I think I'd made almost 800 grand in commissions. 2009, I made 1.3 million. I like almost doubled. Well, not quite doubled it, but it went up when everybody else was going down because I was just learning more. I was just getting better at selling. So I wasn't worried that the company was going to go bankrupt. I knew I'd be the last one out the door. Let's just put it that way. I had a bigger office than the CEO of the company did. They put me like in the corner suite and everything, made me all nice and, golden handcuffs. But I knew if something happened that I had the skill level to really go sell in that industry or really any industry and nothing would change,
Do you feel like not having that knowledge just kind of gave you the freedom to be able to just stay the course and just do your process and not really worry about it?
Yeah, because if I didn't have the skills, if I didn't have the skill level, I'd be pretty freaked out, right? I mean, if you're a salesperson and this whole recession thing's about to happen, if you don't have the right skills, like it's easier to sell, during times of, economic, growth. But when there's economic contraction, right, your prospects become way more skeptical, way more risk averse, and they hold on to their money because they're uncertain of what's going to happen. So every shortcoming in your sales process during an economic downturn that we're about to go into is only going to be magnified by 10, because those laydown sales that you've been getting the last couple of years, well, guess what? About 90% of them just go away. And so now you're playing with the big boys now. They still have problems. Yeah. Your solution solves those, but if you don't have the right skills, you're just not going to have the laydowns there anymore. So you have to acquire more skills to be able to really thrive during a recession. And they always happen. It's not like it's always economic security forever. You're always going to have recessions and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's really funny. Like you saw during COVID, you saw this massive expansion of the online education industry.
Yeah.
And so everyone was trying to figure out. So you see these big biz op, Amazon automation and YouTube. You saw all these sort of automation things to happen. There's this huge boom, and they became easy to sell because everyone they knew lockdowns were coming. They needed a way to make money from home. Yeah. And now you're seeing a contraction of that industry.
Yeah.
Because there is an artificial inflation of it. And as the world turns back to normal and gets into harder economic times, and the FTC catches up with some of these, one of the larger players, well, quote unquote, larger players in the space, Kevin David, just got fined $53 million from the FTC.
Yikes. What happened? What did he do?
They sell Amazon automation, crypto trading bots, stuff like that. And they just, I have no information on it, but according to the FTC, they did not fulfill their obligations, and their marketing practices were somewhat unethical. That's all alleged. I don't actually know the truth of the matter, but that's what the FTC has decided.
Okay.
I will say that because Kevin David is a very litigious individual. So yeah, $53 million. They ended up taking 2.6 million because that's all he had. So they took everything he had. And then they have said if they find any hidden money at all at any stage, they'll make them pay the entire 53.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But I mean, that's that's not a bad thing for the industry, not a bad thing for marketing and sales as a whole, because it's showing that like shonky operators are potentially getting held accountable for what they're doing.
Yeah, you got to fulfill whatever you're selling. You have to fulfill to get your clients' results, right? That's just the way.
Exactly. But also, what you're seeing at the moment is a lot of sales reps that don't have homes now.
Yeah,
because it's been easy to sell up until now. Now it's becoming harder.
And it's not going to get easier over the next 12 months. I can assure you that it's only going to get harder every single month. That's why you have to acquire more advanced skills.
Yeah. However, we're just not seeing those same complaints with our students.
Yeah.
We're just not like, it's because they have the skills. So, like we're seeing, I'm not seeing like across the, the accounts that we manage in our done for you side, I'm not seeing drops in close rates at all.
Yeah.
There's just not, it hasn't been affected, but I'm getting hit up every day, 10 times a day for people going, hey, do you have any work? Do you have any accounts? Do you have any jobs?
The laydowns are gone. Now they actually have to learn skills.
No, if you need to come to me asking me for a sales position, like chances are you're probably not good enough.
Yeah.
Because I should be reaching out to you.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. So I think, if you guys, when you're listening to us or watching us here, you need to find companies that are legitimate, right? Obviously that should be a no-brainer. I shouldn't even have to say that. All right. But you want to find companies who have good structure there, good ownership. They've got the head on their shoulders. They got the right people. Even if you're going into a startup, hey, startups aren't necessarily bad. You just have to know what you're getting into, right?
Yeah.
And if you can, especially in a startup, if you can like even generate some of your own leads and stuff like that, you're going to be in a better position than a few of the other reps who are just dependent on this new startup, hopefully getting them leads. Now, let's say they've got some good marketing people and there's a startup, that's one thing. But if they're like this guy, an assistant, and they don't really know what's going on, I'd be a little bit hesitant there for sure.
Yeah. One thing I would also say that I've learned over the years is that make sure that people don't look at you as a white knight that's going to save the business.
Tell us why. That's
a real big one. It's a like, some businesses will I guess they'll look for someone to come in and save the day who can make a lot of sales happen. And like, don't get me wrong, sometimes that can happen, and they're willing to pay you lots of money in order to do so. It's like, but one of the red flags that I look for is when they've had like a super high churn of sales rep, and they blame not finding the right rep. Now that can be a case, but it also means to me that they're not looking at the marketing. So super high turnover in sales staff is a real red flag for me.
That makes sense.
And then like the business's mentality towards a customer focused approach, I think is very important.
Okay. What's behind that?
If they don't have a customer focused approach, then regardless of whether they're selling widgets or whether they're selling marketing or whether they're selling alarm systems or whatever, like if they're not customer centric, it means that like they're not innovating. They're not doing things that are going to like stay with the times. They're not asking their clients, how can we be better at our job? What can we be doing? Like every month at 7th level, we send out a survey. We send out that survey so we can best serve our clients better, so we can tailor our content. We can redo our programs. Like we come up with 3 new products every year, and we redo our products every 12 months.
I'm rewriting one of them right now to reshoot it, baby. It's a big project.
And the reason why we do that is because there's an evolution in the marketplace. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're constantly staying ahead of the game, and we're not being stagnant, just selling the same widgets over and over and over again.
Well, I think that's one thing you need to look for in a company, because I know at 7th level, because me, I'm like, let's just go, spend money, throw money. And you're like, whoa. Like, we can double the ad budget, but then we bring on too many clients, we bring on too many sales, and then we can't fulfill in the way that we need to. So we have to slow the marketing down. And I think that's really important, because at 7th level, you want to be with a company that is focused on the end result for the client. Like, what type of result is the client getting? Because if you don't get them the results that they came in for, you just don't have a company that's around that long, right? So if you want to be a long-term business, if you want to be around 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, when we're not even here, like you said, Matt, you have to be customer focused to make sure they get the end result. And we will spend more money on that, take away from our profit margins, slow down, bring on less clients to make sure our clients get a higher end result every single time.
Yeah. And we've had that conversation many times here. We could easily double sales here. However, we don't have the fulfillment to handle double the sales right now. So, we're hiring 4 more coaching staff and make sure that we're processing and systemizing a few things so that we can like actively go, okay, now we're ready to take on more clientele, and now we can raise the ads and make more sales and stuff like that. So, when you start seeing conversations from high level, like, hey, just bring them in and we'll sort it out. Like those are red flags to me.
That's big red flags for sure. I agree 100%. What's another thing that you think that these reps need to look for from a business that, is hiring, or they're going to interviews? Like what's something else that is something positive, that if they see this one thing, that means something really good besides the customer centric approach?
I think this one's more based on the individual, but like team culture.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about that.
Is there a culture of the team? Do they promote that kind of thing, or do they kind of want everyone to work as rogue agents and stuff like that? Now, some people work much better as a rogue agent, and I've got no problem with that. Yeah. We've got guys on our team that like, they're not going to come to team meetings, but like you just give them the leads, they make their sale, they do their thing, right?
Yeah.
The rogue units will always exist, but if you're someone who thrives in more of a team environment, then like what's being done on a company level to ensure that like there is a kind of team cohesive strategy and there's an element of collaborative competition. Okay. So like what I want if I'm going to come into a team is I want to know who the best are and how well they're performing.
Yeah.
So I can make a strategy to crush them. right. So there has to be top performers. If there's no one in there that's gonna give you a run for your money, in my opinion, it ends up being kind of a boring place to work.
I can totally concur with that 100%. So there's got to be it's got to be a competitive culture, but yet a culture where everybody's helping each other to get to the end goal because they believe in the company. They believe in the products, they believe in the services, they believe in the clients, getting their problem solved, getting the results. So you want to look for companies that have that competitive environment for salespeople, because that's going to drive you to do better, right? It's going to drive you to make more money, but also a company that is doing that for the reason of their clients getting better as well. Any last words of advice before we end today?
I think, be skeptical. Make sure you look around. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
I could see that.
That's what I want
definitely 100%. I love that. All right, everybody. Thanks for being on. Make sure you, if you want more hors d'oeuvres, like little nibbles that we give out, make sure you want to look at our training. We'll give you the hors d'oeuvres first. We'll give you some nibbles. Go to our free Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. Got about 40,000 or so people following us around in there. We go live in there about 3 to 4 times a week, different Q&As, different trainings, little nibbles we give out. And then right when you join, check your messenger, either myself or one of my surrogates or one of my stunt doubles, as I call them, will message you a free training called the NPQ 101 mini course, just a list of different questions that you can use for different sales situations you're in, no matter what you sell. We train every industry at this point, except underwater basket weaving. Let us know if you know somebody in underwater basket weaving. We're trying to get in that account. And right when you join, make sure you start going through that. And then you want more advanced training for you and your teams, just message us in there or call us through there, or email us, and you can get on with our people and talk a little bit more details about our advanced stuff. Matt, thanks for being on. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoy these, here's another you can watch right over here, right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're going to help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.